Hi everyone, David Aragona and Craig Milkowski here taking a look at the DRF Saturday race of the day. It is the Grade 2 Raven Run Stakes at Keeneland going as race 9 on their 10 race card. This one is for the 3-year-old fillies going 7 furlongs. And Craig, this is a pretty wide open field. A lot of runners are stepping up in class to face a tougher group than they've met in some of their recent starts. All of them trying to stretch their speed to the 7 furlongs, some of them turning back in distance as well. The number 2 Smash Ticket is coming off a big speed figure win at Pimlico in her last start. I understand why she's the favorite, but you've got the Prioress winner, Wicked Halo, coming in from Saratoga, the undefeated Fingal's Cave, and New York bred. This is a pretty intriguing group of 9 3-year-old fillies.
It is, and much like another preview video we did to Perryville, I fully expected Wicked Halo to be running in the filly and mare turf sprint, but coming out of that Prioress win, but she didn't, and I was even more surprised to see her as the second choice on this morning line. I understand it was Smash Ticket. She's been reeling off wins, and it is a pretty tough field, but it's a competitive race for sure.
Yeah, definitely many ways to go in this Raven run, and pace could have a big impact on the outcome. Let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector. And Craig, not surprised to see that red flag indicating a fast pace showing up, because there are many fillies that want to be forwardly placed in this spot, particularly that number 2 Smash Ticket, who just has a ton of early speed. And I think the big question for her is going to be carrying that speed the entire 7 furlong distance.
I know she's a filly I actually saw in person at Lone Star Park, and she didn't have much of a reputation back then, just winning an allowance race after being okay at Del Mar as a 2-year-old. But she just blasted the field, and it has kept right on going. I do have concerns about her as the morning line favorite for a couple reasons. One is that distance of 7 furlongs, and 2 is, as you mentioned, I do think there are some others that will be intent on being up near the lead. Maybe if not in the first quarter mile, before they get to the half, they'll be wanting to challenge her.
Well, before we get to Smash Ticket, let's take a look at the horse that it sounds like you think might go favored here. That's the number 8 Wicked Halo, and we'll check out her last victory in that Grade 2 Prioress at Saratoga when she just got up to win, or I should say held off the late charge of Sterling Silver. Also in this race is Union Lake. She's the one in that yellow cap who's challenging for the lead right here, but the gray Wicked Halo ranges up outside of her and goes clear at the end. Craig, I thought Wicked Halo got a great trip to win, but she did show up with yet another good effort.
She did. She was a little bit puzzling 2 starts back when she won the Teppan Stakes at Churchill, and she did so, and the speed figure just seemed to come back low. It was one that didn't make a lot of sense, and she kind of proved that in the Prioress when she rebounded back to a 116, a career best for her. She's basically been in good form her whole career. She's never really run a bad race. And I just think she has good tactical speed. She's the kind of filly that makes her own trips. And it seems like the outside post is going to allow her to do that one more time.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to like about Wicked Halo in here. My one concern is that she did get such a great trip in winning that Prioress last time, but she's not one you have to worry about the distance at all, the 7 furlongs, because like you said, with that 1 mile victory 2 back, you know that she's got the stamina to handle it, whereas that could be a question for some others in here. I don't want to just dismiss, though, the horse that finished behind her last time, the number 1 Union Lake. She arguably had the tougher trip because I thought that pace did heat up a little bit. It was at least contested moving down the backstretch, and Union Lake was the one that was pressing the early leader, Hot Peppers, who is a pretty nice horse for Rudy Rodriguez. And I thought that Union Lake did well to put away Hot Peppers before she just got swallowed up by some of the late runners, including Wicked Halo. I think this lightly raced John Terranova filly has been progressing nicely, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them take her a little bit farther off the pace here than the pace projector indicates.
Yeah, you can see that in her speed figures. She had that debut, then a long layoff, and since she's come back, she's improved her speed figure every time, including 12 points last time, which included a 4-point pace bonus for contesting that fast pace. And as you mentioned, Hot Peppers, she may not have been in the best form then, but she's a fast horse early, so you got to run to keep up with her. I do worry a little bit about the inside post for her here, particularly from 7 furlongs with the speed to her outside. But if she can rate in behind that one, I don't see why she wouldn't run a nice race.
Let's move on to the morning line favorite. That is the number 2 Smash Ticket. And we'll take a look at her last race when she won the Weather Vane very impressively at Pimlico. And Craig, she just ran them off their feet on this day. She went to the front, laid down some honest fractions, and just basically drew away from a pretty decent field by over 6 lengths. It's not the first time she's run well, because she had also run a nice race to win a tough optional claimer in her prior start at Saratoga, beating the in-form Betsy Blue, who came back with a big speed figure in her next start. So Smash Ticket, she's coming into this race in razor sharp form, just has to carry her speed that 7 furlong distance.
Right. That is the question for me, along with how she's going to handle pressure, because she did face some of that at Saratoga in her win, but in that race she also didn't finish it off like some of her others. The lead was dwindling at the wire. Her speed figure declined. So I'm a bit against Smash Ticket in this particular spot.
She'll be trying to give her damn Hennessy Smash her second graded stakes victory of this Keeneland meet, because Smash Ticket is the younger half-sister to Slammed for same connections. She was the winner of the TCA for older filly sprinters a little bit earlier in the Keeneland meet. Craig, a horse that I think you have to have an opinion about in this Raven Run, because she could take some money based on her unblemished record, is the number 5, Fingal's Cave. Let's take a look at her last victory when she won going the 2 turns at Saratoga, demanding 1.125 distance in the Fleet Indian. And I would say, based on this visual, 1.125 might be pushing her to the limit of stamina a little bit. So I like the turn back for Fingal's Cave. She's just getting a big class test here.
It is a pretty big class test. And like you, I'm not going to put a whole lot into that 1.125 race. I think she just beat that field on class alone. She's simply better, but the 1.125 certainly wasn't her best distance. This feels like the best distance for her. Her 2 sprints earlier in her career, she won by huge margins against obviously weaker fields. She's a bit of a wild card for me. The reason I would tend to go against her in here is just because of that low morning line. She's co-second choice with Wicked Halo, a filly who really has much more in the way of credentials than Fingal's Cave does. So I have nothing against the horse. I wouldn't be surprised if she runs well. I just don't think she's going to offer a lot of value.
Yeah, she had to work harder than expected to beat Let Her Inspire You last time at Saratoga. And that runner came back to win, but did so with a lower speed figure. So cast some doubt on the strength of that performance last time. I think she's going to have to improve and run her best race ever. But she does go out for a very strong trainer, David Donk, one who doesn't often ship outside of the Naira circuit. So intriguing from that sense with Fingal's Cave. Another horse that's coming off a victory is the number 7, Freedom Speaks. Let's take a look at her last win at Kentucky Downs. But Craig, surface is the big question for this filly, because she's improved a great deal in recent starts on the turf. Now they're switching back to the dirt.
Right. I mean, I don't put a whole lot of stock in Kentucky Downs races when they switch to turf at a different track. Not that they're not top quality races. They are. It's just so much different than what we normally see. And this filly, to me, just doesn't look like she wants third. I mean, her 3 best races have come on turf and synthetic. Her by far weakest race has come on the dirt. So she's not for me in this spot.
I agree. She's not my kind of horse. Has been in great form on the turf recently, but this seems like a difficult surface switch for her. Let's move on to a couple other horses. The number 9, Midnight Stroll, is the other runner for trainer John Terranova in here. He actually has the horses that bookend this field, as he's also sending out that rail runner, Union Lake. And Craig, Midnight Stroll, kind of a difficult filly to assess, because they've tried different distances with her. She was the winner of the Delaware Oaks 2-back when she was going 2 turns, cut back to the 7 furlongs at Charlestown last time, which also was a 2-turn race, but she ran into Society that day, and nobody was getting close to that filly on that evening.
Yeah, you know I'm a fan of Society, so I'm giving Midnight Stroll a shot in here. I think she probably wants to sprint. As you say, it's a little bit cloudy given the running lines and where she's been spotted, but just feels like a better spot to me than what she's been running in. That Charlestown race, there was basically no pace. Chasing a horse like Society, who just towered over that field at Charlestown, has since come back to win a graded stakes in really nice form. So I think Midnight Stroll has a shot.
I agree. I think that her running style is going to suit this race pretty well because she's shown the ability to pass horses in her last couple of races. She's drawn well outside here, and I think she could be one that will appreciate the 7 furlong distance and should be running on late. Given that fast pace predicted by the pace projector, I think we should also talk about another horse that could benefit from pace in here. That's the number 4, Last Leaf. She's got to take a step forward from a speed figure standpoint, Craig, but she has won 3 of her last 4 starts and is supposed to get the right kind of setup.
Yeah, I guess I'm always a little leery of horses that you say have to get the setup and have to run faster. It seems like she's gotten decent setups in her last couple and may just be a little bit not quite this good. I don't think she's a grade 2 type filly.
I would tend to agree with that. She was beaten by a good one last time in Echo Zulu, but she's also facing a pretty tough field in this grade 2 Raven run on Saturday. So let's throw up our picks for this race. We've got basically the same horses in the mix, just kind of sorted them in a different order. Craig, you're going for the winner of that Prioress last time out at Saratoga, Wicked Halo. Just been in great form, and she's proven at the distance.
Right, yeah. Like I said, I was kind of expecting her in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. Maybe she'll show up there too. Who knows? Well, tend to doubt it though. And it seems like maybe this was the goal, and she's in good form. I'm not really expecting that 4-1. I don't know if she'll be favored, as we talked about earlier. I think she'll be maybe in the 5-2 range, but I just think she's the best horse. Draws a good post and kind of makes her own trips.
And I'm going for the number 1, Union Lake, to turn the tables on Craig's pick, Wicked Halo. I just feel like she made the first move into a hot pace last time in that Prioress. Has got to get the 7 furlongs, hasn't been proven going that far, but I liked her race as her 2 victories prior to that Prioress last time. And I just feel like she's coming into this race still with a little bit of upside for trainer John Terranova. Craig, we both have Terranova's other runner in there too, the number 9, Midnight Stroll. She could be one that offers some value in this race.
Yeah, I will definitely be using her in vertical play. She's going to be a pretty big price, I would imagine. I think we're going to get every bit of those double digits.
Well, that's a look at the grade 2 Raven run on Saturday at Keeneland, the DRF Saturday race of the day. Good luck if you're playing the races this weekend.